Hi everyone, today I wanted to do a video tutorial for you on how I made my little mini Christmas trees that I gave out as gifts this year. The blog has better pictures of these Christmas trees and it's hard to sort of tilt it on its side and show you what they look like. But basically all you're going to need to create your own mini Christmas trees are some mini mentos and a ribbon spool. These are just the internal spools of a roll of Stampin' Up ribbon, the bit that comes in the middle. When you finish your ribbon roll, you should put these in a little container and keep them because they are great for loads of other sort of projects. So the mini mentos that I'm using come in these packs of 12. You could basically use anything though that gives you a little cylindrical shape to it to make your little trees out of. Okay, so the rest of the stuff is just cardstock that you'll have around. So to start with, what you're going to do is take a piece of designer series paper and wrap it around your mini mentos roll here. And the dimensions that you cut will depend on the size of the roll that you get, but I think mine were about 1 3/4 inches by about 2 1/4 to get around. So, but it will really honestly depend on the size. So just all you're going to do is cover it. The other thing you'll need to do then is go ahead and punch yourself out some scallop circles, and I used 4 scallop circles, and then I've cut them all slightly different to get the different tiers of the Christmas tree. So for the very top tier, we'll start with that cut first. What you're going to do is you're going to take your scissors in a valley there between 2 of the scallops, and you're going to cut to the center, and you're going to cut out 3 scallops. Okay, so that's the very first one. That's the top of your Christmas tree, and that's just rubbish. You can throw that to the side. The middle tier, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to start in the middle of a valley, cut to the center, and this time you're going to cut out 5 scallops, okay? So it's a lot bigger portion cut out that time. So then you've got 5 scallops cut out for the next layer. And the bottom 2 layers I cut exactly the same. So in between that valley to the center, and I just removed 1 scallop. So you do the same thing for both of those bottom tiers. Now again, these measurements I'm giving you guys will really honestly depend on what mentos or rolly set of lollies that you get, but all I really want to show you, I guess, is the basic principle for how you would go about shaping it. So once you've got all your tiers cut with the appropriate scallops missing, you need to punch some extra pieces out of these to make them work for you. So the bottom 2 tiers, you'll need a 3/4 inch circle punch, and for the second top tier, you'll need a 1 inch circle punch. The very top cone on the top of the tree, you don't need to do anything further with that. But starting with this second top tier, you'll need to just place it in your 1 inch circle punch so that the center point, or that point that you cut to make the center, is in the middle of your circle punch. I'll show you now I've done that. And you're just going to punch out that little shape there, and it gives you a kind of little narrow band, okay? The next, the bottom 2 layers, you can stack them one on top of each other, and you pop them in your 3/4 inch circle punch till that peaky bit's in the center. Again, the cutout bit's in the center. Only has to be rough sort of cuts, guys, doesn't really matter. And then you're just going to punch out a 3/4 inch circle from the middle of those bottom 2 rounds. So that's all the cutting that you need to do. So basically you've got these bottom 2 skirts with the 3/4 inch circle punch and 1 scallop missing, the second top tier with 5 scallops missing and the 1 inch cut out, and the top tier with just 3 little scallops missing from that. Once you've done all your cutting, you can use the Perfect Polka Dot embossing folder and give them all an emboss to give them a nice little sort of dotty look to them. So what you need to do once you've dotted these up, imagine that's all dotted from the embossing folder, you're just going to use a bit of double-sided tape to hold these together, and basically you're just going to put it on the end of 1 scallop like that. Now you can, if you want to, get your bone folder and give them a little bit of a, a bit of a de-stress there to kind of start that curving process. I don't know if you really can see from that angle, but see how they're kind of curving down a bit? Because what the basic aim is to cross one over the other, and they're going to go down the bottom half of your paper covered tree trunk. So when it's around like that, all you're going to do is wrap it around and take off the tape. And then you're just going to, it's a bit fiddly, like all my projects tend to be, and they're just going to sort of stretch it and cross it over and make a little bottom skirt for the bottom of your tree. Now these should technically sort of kind of slide up and down your Mentos tube so that you can sort of fiddle with the, you know, how high and low you want your tree layers to be. But basically I've gone ahead and I've started another one here that's already got my bottom 2 layers dotted and glued on. So the next layer I want to show you is the second top one. Now again, when you're doing this, you'll notice, and I'll show you on this one, when I've cut the 1 inch circle out, it's not quite enough. It's sort of a bit of a tight squeeze for that little Mentos tube. So this is what I mean about you'll have to do your own modifications based on whatever little insert lolly tubes that you get to do your tree trunk. But the principle's just basically cutting out a recess out of your scallop circle till you get it big enough that it fits around. So all I've done there, quite roughly, is just take out an extra chunk of that scallop circle. I could have easily put my punch back in there, but I just find to pick up the scissors and quickly do it. Now, fingers crossed, with a little bit of double-sided tape on the back of one of the scallops back there, I should be able to wrap this guy around. There you go. So that's just the little top scallop there placed in, just stuck down together. So now I've got the 2 bottom scallops on there, the little teenier one at the top. So all that's left to do is put the top on my tree. And you can see, like I said, these scallops kind of move to give you your tree as bunchy or as spread out as you would like. So the top scallop, all that needs to happen to that is that we're going to seal it together in a cone shape, but I also put a few extra little strips of double-sided tape right round the top edge so that the cone will actually sit on top of stick on top of the tube. So what I'm going to do is I'll take off one of these big side strips here, and basically all I'm going to do is cross it over, and I'm crossing this one over by 2 scallops though. So when I do it, I'm lining it up so that 2 scallops cross over. Might need to just take you in just a little bit further, guys, so you can see there. See how there's 2 scallops that are crossing over? So that top one has got a crossover section of 2 scallops. I just find it gives it a better shape and it gives it a bit more strength for the top. And then you'll notice on the inside those little bits of tape are still in there. So all I want to do now, and I usually use tweezers to do this because it's a bit tricky to get in there, take off those bits of double-sided tape cover like that. And then this little cone goes right kind of on the top like that. And and what I've been trying to do the whole time, and I probably should have told you about this, guys, right at the start, is keep the seams of my tiers lining up with the seams of my trunk. That way there's a definite back and front to these little trees. Always have your best front forward, and the back it can be as messy as you like. Okay, so then what I've done is I've just squished down that little top tier, sort of making a bit more sort of downwardy shaped. Then I'm just going to push my little tiers up under each of the successive ones, and then you can kind of play with these tiers. And look, it's supposed to be a bit rustic, and it's not supposed to be a perfect tree, but you just want to kind of, you know, shape them till they're kind of Christmas tree shape, whatever shape that might be. Now you could add more tiers if you really wanted to. Honestly, it's up to you how you go about decorating these. Now, your little Mentos tubes, unfortunately, don't stand up. So that was the necessity for me to invent something to place them in. So with your ribbon spools, when you pop them apart, you find you've got 2 halves here. You've got a little half here that's got corrugations on it, which is the inner part of it, and the outside edge, which is kind of nice and smooth. I tend to use these smooth ones to make containers, tubes for treats and stuff. And I often have a lot of these bumpy sided ones left over. And also because the Mentos tube is quite small, you want a smaller base to your Christmas tree. So I just out of preferential use the bumpy sided half, and then I save these for my clear containers that I use. But honestly guys, you could use both sides. It's just my little preference thing that I do. So a couple of things you need to do. One is to put double-sided tape right round the edge of your ribbon holder here. So what you're going to do is put a bit of double-sided tape on there. Okay, like that. The other thing is that you'll need to cut yourself a 1 3/8 inch circle. Put tape on the bottom of that. And this is then to cover the bottom of your circle. If you wanted to, you could probably, you know, stamp a Merry Christmas on the bottom of this before you stuck it on the base of your ribbon spool. So then you're just going to cover the bottom up like that. So it looks nice. Okay, and this is the top part. Taking that double-sided tape off from around that rim there, all I've gone ahead and done is using the same scallop punch that I used for my tiers. I've punched myself a circle in the very vanilla. I've taken a 3/4 inch circle punch and punched a hole in the middle. And the reason I've done that is that the Mentos are roughly 3/4 inch in diameter, and once I got the DSP on there, it adds a little bit of depth as well. So all I'm going to do for this one is I just place the circle on the top, centering it over the spool. Now I will bring you in just a little bit so you can see what I'm doing here. Just roughly centering it. It's not stuck there, it's just sort of sitting there. Then all I do is I go on the two opposite sides and I give a squeeze down and in to my the sides of my scallop circle. See now it's sort of stuck on that side and that side of my ribbon spool. Then I work to the opposite side. Same thing, I'm going to give a bit of a squeeze in on the two opposite sides. So now, kind of hard to show you, but I hope you can sort of see what I'm doing here. I'm basically pushing down on that top, but having the two edges stuck and the two edges stuck. Then I kind of work around the rest of it, and it's supposed to look like, I'll tell you what it's supposed to look like, and then you can tell me whether you agree or not. It's supposed to look like a little skirt on the bottom of, you know, your Christmas tree, your little skirt that goes under your Christmas tree. Maybe you do know, maybe you don't. That's okay. It's basically a little skirted fancy bit for the bottom of your tree, and you're basically just going to stick it to that double-sided tape that goes all the way around like that, and it covers your ribbon spool. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to grab a dimensional, and you're going to take one of them, oops, got a bit of extra cover there, and you're just going to put a dimensional right in that hole that's in the bottom. And the reason for that is that it brings up the level of the base to the same as the plastic around it. And dimensionals are quite good and sticky and strong for holding things in place. So I just take off my top of my dimensional, decide that that's going to be the front of my Christmas tree. My back of my Christmas tree seam goes to the back. Push your tree, it's hard to see from the top, sorry guys. Push your tree into your container. Like that, isn't he look cute? Well, I think he does. Anyway, push your tree into and it'll hold on that dimensional for you. And then all I do is time to decorate all the fun bits on it. So you can see on my tree here, I've added a Christmas star to the top and some cherry cobbler dazzling details, which I'm going through like nobody's business this Christmas. It's brilliant stuff. So your little star on the top of your Christmas tree is made by punching two gold, brushed gold stars using the star punch that's in the Christmas mini trio. You get that and two ornaments, so the stars are awesome. So to put the star on your tree, all I do is my favourite mini glue dots. I put a mini glue dot on the back of one of my stars. I take a second mini glue dot, scrunch, and I put it right on the top of my tree. Now, I don't know if you can see that again very well, but I've stuck a mini glue dot right on the top of my tree there. Maybe you can see? Yeah, hopefully. Believe me, I just stuck it on the top. And again, you might have a better way of doing it than I do. Sometimes I do the clumsiest things, so happy for you to modify and do what works best for you. Then what I'm going to do is using that mini glue dot that I put on one of the stars, I kind of keep my finger in the base of it. See that there? Make sure that the two halves are separated. And basically just match the two up at the top and give them a real squeeze together. And then when my star is parted at the bottom, I place it over that mini glue dot and give it a squeeze. So it's sort of sticking on the mini glue dot, and you get a front and a back to your star, and it sits on top of your Christmas tree. Oh, so cute. Other thing to mini glue dot on is I've just tied a little ribbon from some red grosgrain ribbon, put a mini glue dot on the back of that, and I just put that down the front of my tree there just to give it a bit of Christmas red. And the last thing to do is to go nuts with your dazzling details. You could use the white and the clear and the silver as well if you really wanted to super bedazzle it. It's up to you. Again, I find I go a little bit hard and I can't stop, but you don't need too much, but just a little bit of dazzle makes your tree come to life. And just randomly place it all over your tree. Now you've got to make sure, guys, this is the last thing you do, because anyone that's played with the dazzling details will know that it does take a little while to set, and I certainly on more than one occasion have put dazzling details on and stuck my fingers straight in it. So I try to be not too goofy, and I try to make sure that I give it enough time to dry. So you know how that works, guys, but put that on, set him aside to dry. Cute little table decorations and perfect little Christmas gift for somebody. All right, I hope that kind of at least some way helps you to work out how to make some of these cute little guys for yourself. Okay, bye.